Okay, class, good morning. I can see some students have joined. So, rest will join, but we should continue. जो late आता है, फिर they can catch up on their own thing. Okay, so today we have to start with a very important topic of actually starting to draft our pleadings. So now comes the practical part of our syllabus. From going forward, we have to draft various kinds of pleadings, and then towards the end of the syllabus, we have to draft various kinds of conveyance deeds. So this is the first pleading, this is the first petition which you see in your case mat, and this is before the district judge. So we have to note everything very carefully, please. This is how exactly how you will do your paper when you are asked to draft these petitions. This is exactly the same format that is given to us in the case mat. Exactly same we have to follow it. ठीक है, तो एक एक चीज आप नोट करेंगे. We have to note what and how what will come there. So you notice here in the capitals, you will write in the Court of District Judge, District Dash Delhi, suit number dash of 2020, suit under Order 37 of the Code of Civil Procedure. Now, if I ask you, students, what do you all remember from your CPC days? If you all can share with us your knowledge of Order 37, please. Anyone?
Order 37 is usually filed wherein we need to recover some, certain fixed amount from a certain person.
Yes,
It's
yes,
also
very
usually
good.
called a summary suit, wherein
Yes, very good.
the defense has no a defense as such, and there is a fixed amount that defense has to give us. So
Yes,
to
very
save the court's time, like we just need to quickly do this. So it's like a
yes,
summary suit. It is a
right,
summary
right.
suit.
Yes, it is a summary suit. Who's speaking? Who was telling us this?
Ma'am Tanishka.
तनिष्का. हाँ, तनिष्का, वेरी गुड. आप बहुत आंसर्स देते हो क्लास में. आई हैव नोटिस्ड योर नेम. तनिष्का इज डूइंग अ गुड जॉब. आई वांट मोस्ट अदर स्टूडेंट्स आल्सो टू गेट लिटिल मोर पार्टिसिपेटिव, प्लीज. CPC हम पढ़ चुके हैं, and like Tanishka remembers, all of you should remember that summary suit. So this is suit under Order 37 of the Civil Procedure Code. अगर आपको अभी यहाँ पर नहीं पता है what summary suit is, then we will not be able to do justice with the pleadings that we are going to undertake here. So we have to quickly refresh our memory of what we are trying to, what is the suit all about. So like Tanishka has rightly told us, it is a summary suit. These are things, matters where the sum to be the sum which in the form of damages, what is due to the plaintiff is already predetermined. There is no real arguments, there is no real defense that the defendant really has. So it is a fast track mechanism. It is by means of which justice delivery happens sooner. Because as you will notice, these are such straightforward cases where there is no real scope for arguments. So yes, as rightly pointed out, all check bouncing cases, all cases in which money is to be recovered and there is no real arguments to be presented, then we go in for summary suits. So अगर आपके केस में आपके एग्जाम्स में आता है that recovery of so much money because of a check bouncing and so on, you should be aware that this calls for a civil petition under Order 37 of the CPC because there is no real arguments from the other side. However, in all practicality, if a summary suit is filed and you are from the defendant side and you do think that there is some sort of interference by the court which is justified, then you can, as soon as you receive the notice, you can go to the court and plead and so here you need a special permission to file a written statement. Here, it doesn't happen as a matter of course. You have to present before the court the special reasons why you think that court's interference is required, and it's not a clear-cut summary suit case. So if you can justify that no, it's not as simple as the plaintiff is making it out to be, and there needs to be interference of the court on certain matters, then you can approach the court. If you are from the defendant side, you can go to court claiming that. But in the normal course of things, when we see simple cases of check bouncing and how much money has to be returned and so on, then there is no real scope for any arguments because everything is on record. The check number is there, the fact that it has bounced is there, the fact that it has been, the check was issued by the defendant to the plaintiff is all on record. So in such a scenario, there is no real scope for any arguments. So that be the case. So here we will go on to read how we are drafting this summary suit under Order 37 of the CPC. अब हर चीज नोटिस कीजिए, यहाँ पर सब कैपिटल लेटर्स में लिखा है हमने ऊपर के तीन. So this is exactly how we want to see it in your answer sheets also. In the matter of ABC Private Limited, unless they have given you names in the question, you will just put it down as ABC, you will put it down as XYZ, you will give names, you will not in your answer sheets also give your real name in any case. So because remember that there needs to be confidentiality of who the examinee is, and so the examiner need not know you. So nowhere through the examination sheet are you required to put your own name in any capacity. So you just put ABC, XYZ unless the question gives you the names. So here we are saying ABC Private Limited, company incorporated under Companies Act, having its registered office at New Delhi through its director Shri blank छोड़ दो या Mr. DEF कर दो, कुछ भी कर सकते हो. So here the plaintiff you will write here versus capital में बीच में लिखेंगे, and then XYZ Limited, company incorporated under Companies Act, having registered office at Delhi through its director Shri dash, and here will come the defendant. So ये जो आपका portion आप ऊपर का देख रहे हो, बिल्कुल इसी तरह is how you will attempt your draftings. Okay, then you have to mention here what is the suit for, and here it is a suit for recovery of 4,19,200 and bracket, like we have discussed in when we were studying all the rules of pleading that we have discussed so far should come to our help here, because we have studied that numbers have to be given as they are, as numbers. So numbers में लिखना बहुत ज़रूरी है, and then in the bracket also you can write the full in the written form. Then again in capitals you are saying under order so and so 37 of the CPC and like this. Most respectfully शोध भी बिल्कुल ऐसे ही capitals में लिखेंगे. And then like we discussed in our rules of pleadings that you have to give a little bit of an introduction, right? So that's what we have discussed, that we have to give a paragraph or two of introduction. तो यहाँ पर भी if you notice the first few paragraphs are going to be paragraphs of introduction telling you about who the plaintiff is, where is his registered office, who is the person authorized director, and what exactly happened, and so on. So first, and short, crisp paragraphs. Every new thing that you want to tell needs to come in a second paragraph. All paragraphs need to be numbered, as you can see here, right? So let's see the first point. They say the plaintiff is a company constituted under the Companies Act, having its registered office at B4 Safdarjung Enclave. Mr. P, Executive Director or the plaintiff company, is a duly constituted attorney of the plaintiff company and is authorized and competent to sign and verify it. So, of course, if it's a company, then it has some sort of authorized person has to sign the wakalatnama. Some person, authorized person, has to sign on the verification part and so on. So here they are telling you that Mr. P has been authorized to act on behalf of the company. The plaintiff company, inter alia, carry on business of construction. So engineering, designing, plaintiffs are builders of international repute and have earned a big name in their business. अब ये बात बिल्कुल बहुत ही ज़्यादा introductory है. We cannot say this is a material fact, and all through we've been reading कि सिर्फ material fact बताइए and so on. But like we have discussed, as an exception, we can add in a paragraph or two of introduction. So the fact that they are builders of international repute and so on is a very introductory thing that we are telling you. So that much is permissible. This much of introduction is definitely permissible. So 2 paragraphs you've added in with regard to the plaintiffs and their introduction, and paragraph number 3 में आप defendant की introduction दे रहे हैं. You're saying that the defendant is a company incorporated under the Companies Act, having their registered office at Chandigarh. However, the administrative office of the defendant is in Delhi, and therefore the jurisdiction of the Honorable Court is applicable. So you've told us a little bit of introduction of the defendant also. So those are our introductory paragraphs. And now we come to, so point number 4, 5, 6 onwards, 9, ये सब आप जब देखेंगे, these are our material facts. So please understand, if you're trying to recover 4 lakh amount of rupees from the defendant, you have to create a picture, you have to give the full factual matrix in before the judge as to why is it justified for you to get the money, 4 lakh 19,000 in this case. So you have to start, and then again we discussed in our when we were doing the rules of pleadings that you have to start in a chronological manner. So that is how they're going to start here from the very beginning, पूरी के पूरा factual matrix, which will help the judge to decide whether you need to be given that much money or not. Right? So this is how we will start telling the full chronological order. Point number 4 is that the defendant approached the plaintiff for construction of a building of their paper mill at Chandigarh at some time in the year 2000, whereupon the plaintiff constructed the building and handed over the possession of the same to the defendant sometime in December 2013. अब यहाँ पर आपने थोड़ा introduction दे दिया that this is when they approached in 2000, they approached, and then construction happened in December 2013. Then you say in point number 5, so here please notice how the paragraph is being broken. आपने introductory paragraph दे दिया and then 2014 की बात करने वाले हैं, so we are breaking it and we are coming to a new paragraph, and we say that on 4th April 2014 the plaintiff raised a final bill of 4,19,200 on the defendant. Notice that this is written in a numerical manner, not in the word format, because that's what we've learned in our rules of pleadings. So the final bill was this much on the defendant on account of the aforesaid construction of the paper mill at Chandigarh. So this is the aforesaid construction जो आपने paragraph 4 में कर दी है, and that's why you're asking for this much money, against which the defendant handed over check number. So that also you are mentioning here. Check number डालना बहुत ज़रूरी है, because ultimately you will have to prove that that was the check number. So check number, which will be very simple, you will just produce it in court, dated so and so, for rupees this much drawn on Punjab National Bank, Shadra, Delhi to the plaintiff, which was dishonored upon representation. So very clear, simple terms में आपने बता दिया in paragraph number 5 that एक check था, उसका dated ये था, उसका number ये था, ये वाले bank का था, and it has been dishonored. Okay, then you of course break the paragraph because here I want to tell a new thing. The plaintiff immediately informed the defendant about the dishonor of the said check and called upon the defendant to make the payment of the said amount along with interest at 18% per annum. However, the defendant failed to pay the same to the plaintiff despite repeated requests and reminders. So that also you're making it clear that you gave them an opportunity to make the payment. Then in paragraph number 7, you see the chronological order. हम 2000 से शुरू किया, and in point number 7, we are telling them about something that happened on 6th of April 2015. So that the plaintiff finally, therefore finally issued a legal notice dated 6th April 2015 to the defendant, calling upon the defendant to clear the outstanding amount of rupees this much along with interest at the rate of this much with effect from this date up to the date of payment. However, no payment has been made by the defendant despite the notice. तो एक आपने request भी कर दिया, एक आपने legal notice भी दे दिया है. That the defendant is now liable to pay the amount of 4,19,200 along with interest or at 18% per annum from the date on the plaintiff's bill. The plaintiff is, however, claiming interest from 18/4/2014 upon the date up to the date of filing of the suit at 18% per annum. So you are telling them that you're asking for an interest also, which is justiciable. Even in your questions, it will tell you that if it's a check dishonor, this much interest needs to be. I'll give you a question which will help us understand what kind of questions can be framed on similar facts. Okay, point number 9, dekho that the cause of action in favor of the plaintiff and the defendant first arose in 2000. Then the plaintiff was approached by the defendant for construction of their paper mill. It further arose in December 2013. So cause of action kahan rise ho rahe hain? When the said building was completed and handed over to the defendant on 4th of April 2014. When the plaintiff submitted the final bill of 4,19,200, the cause of action arose on all dates when the plaintiff called upon the defendant to make the payment and the latter failed to comply with it. The cause of action is still subsisting as the defendant has failed to pay the outstanding amount despite repeated oral and written requests and reminders to the plaintiff. So if in point number 9, they're trying to tell us that the cause of action still does exist. Any reason why you think they are mentioning this? Is this material? Do we need to tell the court that the cause of action is still subsisting? अच्छा एक मिनट, एक किसी ने question. Yes.
Due to limitation period, अगर वो limitation out हो गया तो you can't file the suit.
Yes. Who is speaking? ये किसने बोला?
Ma'am Sahib.
Yes. Okay, Shalinder, क्या कह रहे हैं? Can we make little changes like in place of most respectfully showeth? Can we write most respectfully stated? No. Why will you want to change it, Shalinder? इसमें आपको what will you gain out of making this change of respectfully showeth and respectfully stated? Let's just follow the procedure given to us in the case mat. Let's not try and make these changes unless we have some good reason to make the changes. अगर आपको लगता है case mat में कुछ गलत है or it's not correct, why should we go around changing it just for the sake of changing it? We can change it if we think that something is required to be changed. But वो showeth और उसमें तो कोई ज़्यादा difference लग नहीं रहा है why we should make the change. So as rightly pointed out, in point number 9, we are trying to show that the cause of action exists and the period of limitation has not expired. So it is a material fact. अगर आपको यहाँ पर लग रहा है ये दोबारा से 2000, 2013, 14, 15 की बात क्यों कर रहे हैं? They're just trying to tell you that this is a claim that still does exist and the period of limitation has not expired. And then in point number 10, they are telling you that the suit is within the period of limitation. So they've explained it in point number 9, how they think. Now, please notice here, they are not telling you, see, it's a check bouncing case. So which act does apply here? If you all recollect, कौन से act में आपने पढ़ा है check
138
bouncing?
negotiation.
Instrument and negotiation.
Negotiable instrument.
Negotiable Instruments Act, right? Very good. Now, do you all notice here that they have not mentioned section of the Negotiable Instruments Act? Yes? इन्होंने आपको ये पूरे पिटिशन में कहीं Negotiable Instrument Act section so and so दिख रहा है? Nowhere? And why is
No,
that?
ma'am.
Because a fundamental rule of pleading that we have studied is that there is no need to tell the law. We need to state the facts. जजेस को लॉ पता है, उनको पता है नेगोशिएबल इंस्ट्रूमेंट एक्ट, उनको पता है कौन सा सेक्शन है जिसकी बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर, बट यू डोंट नीड टू एक्चुअली स्पेल इट आउट एंड ट्राई एंड मेक योर suit a little more lengthy and so on. That's not something which we need to do. So it is a check bouncing case. It is the relief for which is mentioned and the procedure of which is mentioned in the CPC and the law that applies is the Negotiable Instrument Act. They are not spelling it out for us here, and it's not required. We have to focus on the facts only and material facts. Also in point number 10, they're saying its suit is within the period of limitation, and again they are not mentioning the section of the Limitation Act and how they think that the limitation, it is within the period of limitation. So notice that they are not telling us the law, they are telling us the facts here. Okay, then they say the Honorable Court has jurisdiction to entertain this suit because the part of the cause of action arose in Delhi. Contract for construction of the paper mill was entered at Delhi. All payments up to this date have been made at Delhi, and payment of outstanding amount was also made at Delhi. Administrative office of the defendant is situated in Delhi, where they can carry on the work for their gain. So, आपने बता दिया that limitation period है, within limitation period है. आपने point number 11 में ये भी बता दिया that it is within the territorial jurisdiction of this court, which is a court in Delhi that you are approaching. So I think we are all clear about the jurisdiction aspects of our courts. The cause of action here arose in Delhi, contract was entered into Delhi, and so on. And the administrative office, even though the defendant is the construction happened in Chandigarh, but the administrative office is in Delhi. Okay, point number 12, value of the suit for the purpose and court fee of rupees dash on which court fee of rupees dash is paid. So this one little line is also important. Nobody expects you to know how much court fee is due in such a case. We don't expect you to know that, but a line, one small line with these dashes, you will have to put in the value of the suit for the purpose and the court fees jurisdiction. Itna payment हमने कर दिया है. That this suit is filed under Order 37 of the CPC, and no relief has been claimed which does not fall within the ambit of Order 37. So, and then you come to your prayer clause. Prayer clause आप capitals में लिखेंगे, and then you will mention the prayer. What exactly are you wanting from the court? It is therefore most respectfully prayed that this honorable court may be pleased to, and then you have these four things that you are wanting. Pass the decree for rupees this much with interest of this much from this date up to the date of filing of the suit. Then what do you want? Award pendelite and future interest at the rate of 18% per annum on the above stated amount of this much with interest from this much up to the date of filing of the suit in favor of the plaintiff against the defendant. So pending litigation also you are wanting some sort of relief. Point number C, award cost of the suit in favor of the plaintiff and against the defendant, and pass any such order. So this D part, you remember, ये आपको याद रख लेना है. This is the residuary clause which we add in everywhere. Pass any such or order on further orders as may be deemed fit and proper on the facts and in the circumstances of the case. So this you're leaving to the judgment of the court. All that you're really asking for is the amount to be paid, pending litigation, pending light, you want some amount to be paid, and You want cost in favor of the plaintiff against the defendant for the amount that the plaintiff has actually spent on this whole, going to court and so on, all the money that has been paid by the plaintiff, that also you want back. And then you say this, then place and date यहाँ पर आप लिखेंगे, plaintiff through advocate लिखेंगे right side पे, verification होनी बहुत जरूरी है, that you remember plaintiff has to sign here, and verification का clause जो है, that you have to remember how you're going to term it, what should be the wordings of it. Verified on this day, on first day of January this March, that the contents of para 1 to 8 of the plaint are true to my knowledge, derived from the records of the plaintiffs maintained in the ordinary course of business. So 1 to 8 वो कह रहे हैं कि मेरे खुद के knowledge में है plaintiff, and those of para 9 to 13 are true on information received, because these, remember, 9 to 13 are very legal terms. So this is obviously the plaintiff does not know what is the Limitation Act, what is the jurisdiction that they are talking about, but he is saying that paragraph 9 to 13 are true on information received and believed to be true. And last para is the humble prayer to this honorable court. So this is how your verification clause should also read. The factual position here, which you can guarantee, the plaintiff can guarantee for himself, he can say that para so and so to so and so are well within my knowledge on basis of the records that I have, and then the legal provisions, unke paragraphs ko aap bolenge, from knowledge received, I believe them to be true, and then of course the prayer clause, you have to give a guarantee that you are wanting that relief, and that's the prayer clause that you are asking for. So this is how it should be there. You do notice we have applied all the principles of pleadings that we have discussed so far. We've told them the facts, we haven't told them the law. We've told them the material facts, we didn't go and involve ourselves in spelling out the immaterial facts. We restrained ourselves from doing so. We have given a few introductory paragraphs. We have catered for the jurisdiction part. We have catered for the Limitation Act. So all of that is how you are going to draft your Order 37. And then it needs to be followed by a draft affidavit. So यहाँ पे तो draft affidavit लिखा है, but आप exams में affidavit लिखेंगे. So it needs to be followed with this one document. This goes without saying. If you are filing a suit under 37, तो उसके साथ में एक affidavit भी लगाना बहुत जरूरी है. So the top part, this portion remains the same as was there in your petition. This portion is absolutely same. And then you have to remember this little portion of how the affidavit, what should it read like and what should it look like. Affid of Sharice, so the person's name, son of so-and-so, aged about this much, resident of this much, in the capacity of director of ABC Private Limited. So please notice, verification भी होना चाहिए and affidavit भी होना चाहिए. I dash the deponent herein above do hereby solemnly affirm and state here under. ये अगर आपको अभी थोड़ा confusing लग रहा है, this will come very naturally to you as we go ahead and keep drafting more and more applications. This is one, most of these things will come very naturally to you. जो अभी लग रहा है most respectfully शोध क्यों लिख रहे हैं capitals में, it's just going to very naturally be that is how you will address it. It will come automatically. So this one little line will also come automatically where he has to state as under. I say I am the authorized representative director of the plaintiff company and I am aware of the facts and circumstances of the present suit based upon the records of the plaintiff maintained in the ordinary course of business. And I am duly authorized and competent to swear and file the present suit and affidavit. I say that the accompanying suit has been drafted and filed by my counsel upon my instructions and contents of the same are true and correct. I say that the documents filed along with the plaint are true copies of the original. So of course, along with this plaint also would have gone some sort of annexures. And what could these annexures be? If you have a contract that you entered into, so this 2013 में अगर आपने contract sign किया था with the defendant, वो जाएगा. The fact that check की photocopy जाएगी, which is the check number and so on can be verified. The fact the bank having refused payment on that check, that kind of a document would have gone with this plaint. And then finally, when you serve the legal notice to them, a copy of that legal notice would go as an annexure to this plaint. So we're not going to put in any annexures by ourselves. We know what all could have gone, but at least in the affidavit part of it, एक line आपका डालना बहुत जरूरी है, that I say that the documents filed along with the plaint are true copies of the original. So that needs to be captured, because there is a good reason to believe that a lot of annexures would have been attached to this petition that we have drafted. And then the deponent, and this is where the sign comes. So this is how an order 37 needs to go, and then an affidavit of it needs to go, and then this is the verification. You verify, and this verification clause is similar to what we have seen at the end of the petition also, that the contents of the affidavit here, so obviously you're going to say the affidavit here, contents of the affidavit are true and correct to my knowledge, and information and nothing material has been concealed therefrom, and here is where the signatures will come of the person. So this is how it needs to be drafted. Order 37 needs to be drafted, because and what all needs to go in your petition also they have spelled out for us. So इसमें आपने फर्स्ट प्लीडिंग्स देख ली हैं यहाँ पर, सिविल प्लीडिंग्स अंडर 37. Now going forward like this, we have to be very aware of the different kinds of proceedings, SLPs, writ petitions. So बहुत सारे examples हमारे पास आगे आने वाले हैं about how to draft our pleadings in various courts. We started from the lower court here, and we'll go all the way to the Supreme Court. So this is the nature of what we have to do. But like I've mentioned to you before, it's a practical exam. And I think I've mentioned to you all before, and I say this to every class of drafting pleading, that please remember, you can't really skim through the case mat and say, "Arey, this is very simple, ye to ho jayega." No, you never really attempted your maths exam by reading your maths textbook. And that's why you will never attempt your drafting pleading examination by reading your case mat. You have to actually get a register and you have to draft it out. And that is the exercise that I want you to do from today onwards. You have to take out a register, a drafting a register. Now, if we were having physical classes, I would have made sure that you all are with your paper and your pens, and you're actually doing the drafting that I need you to do. But since we don't have that, we still need you to do the drafting that would have happened in the practical class. So abhi aap kya karenge, please? You got an example right here in front of you how to draft a 37. I'm going to give you a question from a previous year's question paper. एंड सो सेम चीज अगर आपको ड्राफ्ट करने के देंगे तो वो तो आप बिल्कुल सेम वर्बाटम कॉपी कर लोगे, but it's similar. It's not exactly same, but it's similar. So I'm going to give you two questions here, and this is from a question paper of one of your previous years. So this is exactly how you can expect your final end term examination question papers to look like. So please, I give you 2 minutes. Go grab a paper and pen and note down these two questions that I'm going to dictate it out for you now. Yes, 47 students here. Please, ideally एक register बनाइए, so that from today all the way till November till we have our classes, you have recorded and you have written for yourself what all different kinds of pleadings and different kinds of conveyance deeds that you will be drafting out through the course of this syllabus. But if you do not find a register right now, abhi ke liye ek paper lijiye and then stick it in a register, and from the next class onwards, please come with the register. Quickly go grab a piece of paper, please, everyone. Okay, do you have something to note down these two questions on now?
Yes, ma'am.
ओके सो अब ये है आपका प्रीवियस ईयर का क्वेश्चन पेपर है. क्वेश्चन 1 लिखिए. लाइक आई टोल्ड यू थ्योरी बेस्ड क्वेश्चन पेपर क्वेश्चंस बहुत कम है एंड श्योर इनफ वन ऑफ द थ्योरी बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस वी ऑलरेडी डिस्कस, तो वो भी आप लिख लीजिए. So this is question 1 in your question paper. Question 1A में है define pleadings and discuss the fundamental rules of pleadings. Define pleadings and discuss the fundamental rules of pleadings. This is for 10 marks, this question. So you know that you will be able to attempt this question now, which is for 10 marks. Right? So this one question आपको अभी attempt करने की जरूरत नहीं है, because I'm quite sure theory based questions is something that you've been doing all through these years, and you will be able to attempt this 10-mark question without a problem. Define pleadings and discuss the fundamental rules of pleadings. I'm sure you'll do this on your own. But इसी question का B part देखिए. So please note down, this is from your question paper. B part of question 1 जो है, Rajesh Kumar deposited a check number 23549 of amount 72,500. Drawn on Bank of India, which was dishonored by the bank, White memo dated 18/10/2018. Draft a summary suit under Order 37 of CPC on behalf of Rajesh Kumar for the recovery of the above amount from Anthony. So this is a question for 10 marks in your question paper. Okay. You want me to repeat? कहाँ से पूरा का पूरा repeat करना है? कहाँ से repeat करना है?
Ma'am, could you please repeat the whole, like from starting to end?
Okay, I'll go slowly and I'm repeating the whole thing now. Rajesh Kumar deposited a check. Number 23549 of amount 72,500 drawn on Bank of India, which was dishonored by the bank. White memo dated 18/10/2018. Draft a summary suit under Order 37 of CPC on behalf of Rajesh Kumar for the recovery of the above amount from Anthony. So last में था, draft a summary suit under Order 37 of CPC on behalf of Rajesh Kumar for the recovery of the above amount from Anthony. तो आप लोग जो है अभी ये काम शुरू कीजिए. क्वेश्चन 1 जो है आपका 20 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन. यू कैन सी दैट वी हैव कवर्ड 20 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन ऑलरेडी इन योर सिलेबस. क्वेश्चन 1A आप अभी मत कीजिए. दैट इज समथिंग दैट आई थिंक यू विल बी एबल टू डू इट योरसेल्फ. बट क्वेश्चन 1 का जो बी पार्ट है, ये प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चन जो है, प्लीज स्टार्ट. सो एंड रिमेंबर व्हेन दे आर आस्किंग यू दिस क्वेश्चन, you will draft the order 37, you will give the verification, and you will give the affidavit also. The examiner need not spell it out to you that affidavit bhi lagana zaruri hai. It is understood that when you're drafting the 37, uske saath mein uska affidavit also you have to draft it out. So please undertake this little exercise. Of course, I know you won't be able to finish it just yet, but in your next class, you all should have done this. And if you got stuck anywhere or you think any problem you faced, तो वो आप क्लास में बताइए what problem, where did you think there was a confusion, because that is something which will help all the students. So we need to discuss any problem that you face while drafting this petition. So I give you 5 odd minutes. शुरू करो and of course finish कर लेना आराम से. Or whenever we have any tutorial class and all, that time also you have to do such exercise. But I need you to maintain a register, please. I need you to do that. Otherwise, it gets a little difficult. By the end of the examination, by the time we reach December, things will be very easy for us if we have been maintaining the register throughout.
Ma'am?
हाँ जी बोलो.
Ma'am, what about the monetary jurisdiction of this amount, 72,000? Will it go directly to the judge, ma'am?
No, so you can see 72,500 तो lower court का jurisdiction बन रहा है यहाँ पर. See, that's a very good question now. So one of the students here is asking us that what about the pecuniary jurisdiction? But see, in your case mat, the recovery was for 4,19,200, isn't it? But हम कहाँ गए थे? District judge के पास ही गए थे. हम high court नहीं गए थे सीधा. So here the amount is much less. It is only 72,500. So definitely again we will go to the lower courts only. We will not go to the high court of Delhi.
Ma'am.
Yes, bolo.
Ma'am, and what about the cause of action place? Like we discussed in a paragraph, we have to mention about the cause of action. So we need to build a fake story for that.
हाँ, थोड़ा सा आपको introduction लिखना पड़ेगा that Rajesh and Anthony entered into a contract dated so and so, by means of which whatever goods were to be provided. और आपको थोड़ा सा introduction create करना पड़ेगा, because otherwise how are you claiming this amount of money, and on what basis was 72,000 recovered from? You want to claim that you need to recover this amount, तो थोड़ा background आपको डालना पड़ेगा, very briefly. So whatever background you're putting, वो बहुत brief रहेगा. ये नहीं कि वो background लगाने के चक्कर में 1-2 paragraphs उसी पे, छोटा-छोटा, whatever background you're adding, very briefly. And focus more on the formatting, focus more on the correct terminology you're using, focus more on the important ingredients की limitation भी आपको satisfy करना है. और pecuniary jurisdiction तो है ही, बहुत कम है इसमें, so no problem. And then you have to state that the cause of action lies in that court.
Okay, ma'am.
साइड बाय साइड चैट बॉक्स में फर्स्ट पेज स्टूडेंट्स अपनी अटेंडेंस लिख दो. Rinku, what I have is also what you have. Is the case mat which I've downloaded from the law faculty website. So I don't have anything other than what you have. So you can download it from the law faculty website only. Hanji Akash, yes, you can't just claim this amount for nothing. Like one of your friends have asked, एक दो line आपको छोटा सा बताना पड़ेगा that you entered into a contract dated so and so by means of which you undertook a particular contract in which you have to prove here definitely that you have done your part of the contract and therefore the amount was due and then the check bouncing happened.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
हाँ जी, कन्हैया 6:43 तक अटेंडेंस मैंने मार्क कर दी है. All any more students? You can put your attendance in the chat box. Okay. Yes, anybody after 6:24? Acha, 119.